Before you conquer the world, you must first conquer your mind. But how can you find peace when your own habits are the enemy within? Most people don't lose their peace because of others. They lose it because of themselves. Every day, people chase peace. Through success, through comfort, through distraction. They think peace is something to be found, not something to be protected. Yet the truth is, peace is not outside of you. It's within you, and it's fragile. You can destroy it with just a few wrong habits, practiced daily without even noticing. Today, we will uncover the 5 silent habits that destroy your inner peace, and how to break free from them before they break you. Your mind is a tool, not a battlefield. When you overthink, you invite confusion where clarity could live. You replay the past, worry about the future, and in doing so, you abandon the now. The Shaolin path teaches that the present moment is sacred. When your attention leaves it, your peace leaves with it. Instead of asking, what will happen? Ask, what is happening? Silence your mind by grounding yourself in your breath, your senses, your actions. Peace begins the moment you stop needing to know everything. Your mind is like water, calm and clear when still, but turbulent and murky when constantly stirred. Overthinking is what disturbs this natural stillness. It begins innocently, a small doubt, a question, a memory, and soon becomes a storm of endless thoughts. You start replaying every conversation, imagining every possible outcome, and predicting every future scenario. The more you think, the more trapped you feel. And the more trapped you feel, the more you think. This is the cycle that silently consumes your peace. Overthinking is the art of creating problems that don't exist. You invent stories in your head, assuming the worst, trying to control things that are far beyond your reach. You mistake thinking for solving, but in truth, you are only exhausting your energy. The mind, when left unchecked, does not seek peace, it seeks control. It wants to predict, analyze, and secure every possibility. Yet life by nature cannot be controlled. It must be experienced. Peace doesn't come from knowing what will happen. It comes from accepting whatever happens. When you let go of the need to predict or manipulate the future, your mind begins to relax. You stop resisting what is and start flowing with it. Like a river that bends around rocks instead of fighting them, you begin to move with life instead of against it. Ask yourself, how many hours, how many nights have you lost to thoughts that changed nothing? You worried about things that never happened. You replayed mistakes that couldn't be undone. You imagined rejection before it even occurred. The mind convinces you that by thinking more, you will find safety, but overthinking never brings safety, it only brings exhaustion. The truth is, clarity never comes from noise, it comes from stillness. Imagine trying to see your reflection in a pond while the water is shaking. You won't see anything but distortion. In the same way, when your mind is disturbed by endless thought, you lose sight of truth. The more you think, the less you see clearly. The only way to restore clarity is to become still. Stillness does not mean the absence of thought, it means the absence of attachment to thought. Thoughts will come, that's natural. But peace comes when you learn to observe them without judgment, without chasing or suppressing them. You simply watch them appear and disappear like clouds drifting across the sky. You realize, I am not my thoughts. I am the awareness behind them. This awareness is your power. When you live from awareness, you become the master of your mind instead of its prisoner. You begin to choose which thoughts deserve your attention and which can pass by unnoticed. You understand that not every question needs an answer, not every doubt needs a solution, and not every feeling needs an explanation. Some things simply need to be felt and then released. Overthinking is also born from fear, fear of the unknown, fear of failure, fear of loss. The mind believes that if it can just figure it out, it can prevent pain. But no amount of thinking can stop life from being unpredictable. True strength is not in controlling uncertainty, but in learning to live peacefully within it. You don't need to have all the answers to be at peace. You only need to trust that whatever comes, you will meet it with presence and clarity. Begin with small steps. When your mind starts racing, pause. Feel your breath. Notice the sensations in your body. Look around and observe something simple. The air, the sound of a bird, the movement of light. Bring yourself back to now, because in this moment there is no problem, only peace. Peace is not found by adding more thoughts, but by letting go of the ones that no longer serve you. The mind is a powerful servant, but a terrible master. When you stop overthinking, you stop fighting life. And when you stop fighting life, you finally begin to live it. The moment you start comparing yourself to others, a quiet war begins inside you. You stop seeing your own progress, your own light, and instead, you measure your worth by someone else's journey. Comparison is a thief. It sneaks into your mind silently, and before you realize it, it has stolen your confidence, your gratitude, and your peace. When you look at someone else's success, beauty, or achievements and feel less, you are not seeing the truth. You are seeing a projection, a small, edited glimpse of their story. You do not see their failures, their sleepless nights, their doubts. You see the surface, but peace is found beneath the surface. The moment you understand that every person walks a different path, you begin to free yourself from this invisible cage. A flower never thinks of competing with the one beside it. It simply blooms. The bamboo and the oak tree do not grow in the same way, yet both reach their purpose in time. The oak grows strong and steady, while the bamboo bends gracefully with the wind. Which one is better? Neither. They are simply different. So it is with human beings. Your journey has its own rhythm, its own seasons of growth, pause, and renewal. When you compare, you try to rush your spring by envying another's summer. Comparison also creates a constant feeling of not enough. You achieve something, and instead of celebrating, you immediately see someone who has more followers, more wealth, more recognition. And so your joy evaporates. You begin to chase more, thinking that more will finally make you feel whole. But the truth is, peace never comes from being ahead of others. It comes from being aligned with yourself. When you live in comparison, you unconsciously hand over your power to others. Their achievements dictate your mood. Their opinions dictate your worth. You wake up not asking, what do I want? But what will make me look successful? You start living for validation instead of purpose. This is how many people lose their inner peace. Not because they fail, but because they forget who they are trying to be. The way out of this habit begins with awareness. When you catch yourself comparing, pause, breathe. Ask yourself, what lesson can I learn from this person instead of feeling inferior to them? Turn comparison into inspiration. Instead of saying, they are better than me, say, they remind me of what is possible. This small shift transforms envy into motivation, bitterness into gratitude. You must also learn to celebrate small victories. Gratitude is the antidote to comparison. When you are truly grateful for what you have, your eyes stop searching for what others possess. Each morning, take a moment to reflect on what you have built, survived, or learned. It doesn't matter if others are miles ahead. What matters is that you are still walking. Another practice is detachment from outcomes. Many people compare because they are focused only on results. Who earns more, who achieves faster. But peace lives in the process. When you fall in love with effort, not outcome, comparison loses its grip. A Shaolin monk trains not to prove he is stronger than others, but to become stronger than he was yesterday. That is the spirit of true growth, inward, not outward. Remember, there will always be someone ahead of you and someone behind you. Life is not a race, it is a journey of alignment. You are not here to outshine others, but to discover your own light. When you stop comparing, you stop competing. When you stop competing, you start evolving. The moment you honor your pace, peace will return. You will no longer feel threatened by others' success because you will realize their light does not dim yours. In fact, it reminds you that there is space for everyone to shine. That is when comparison dies and gratitude is born. Letting go of the past is one of the hardest lessons in life. We cling to memories, to mistakes, to moments we wish we could change. We replay conversations that ended badly, relive pain that has already passed, and keep wounds open long after the blade has been removed. The truth is, most people do not suffer because of what happened. They suffer because they refuse to release what happened. The past is not an enemy, but it can become one if you choose to live there. Every experience, every mistake, every loss, it was meant to teach you something. Yet so often, instead of learning, we hold on. We identify ourselves with pain. I am the one who failed. I am the one who was betrayed. I am the one who lost. But the moment you attach your identity to your suffering, you carry it everywhere you go. You begin to live not as who you are, but as what happened to you. Imagine walking through life with a heavy backpack filled with rocks, each rock representing regret, anger, shame, or guilt. Every step becomes harder, every breath heavier. You tell yourself, I can't move on because the past still hurts. But the truth is, the past does not hold you anymore. You are the one holding it. You are the one gripping the handle of pain, refusing to set it down. Letting go does not mean forgetting. It means understanding that what has been done cannot be undone, but it can be transformed. Pain can become wisdom. Regret can become understanding. Every scar can remind you of how deeply you once felt, and how strong you have become since then. The river does not stop to mourn the stone it once flowed around. It keeps moving, carving new paths. So must you. Many people cling to the past because it gives them a false sense of control. They think, if I keep remembering, I will never let this happen again. But in truth, the more you hold on, the more you imprison yourself. You are not preventing pain. You are prolonging it. Healing begins the moment you accept that what's gone is gone. It is not about changing what happened, but changing your relationship to it. Ask yourself, what lesson did this experience bring me? What strength did it awaken in me? What truth did it reveal? When you shift your focus from blame to learning, your pain begins to dissolve. The mind that keeps asking, why me, stays trapped. But the mind that asks, what now, starts to grow. Forgiveness plays a powerful role in this process, not just forgiving others, but forgiving yourself. Often, we punish ourselves for years over one mistake, one bad decision, one wrong word. We replay it again and again, trying to fix it in our imagination. But the past is not a place you can return to. It's a lesson you can only understand. You must forgive yourself for not knowing better before you learned. If someone hurt you, forgiveness does not mean approval. It means releasing their power over you. When you hold on to anger, it burns you more than the person you resent. It poisons your thoughts, steals your sleep, clouds your peace. Let it go, not for them, but for yourself. You deserve to walk light, free, unchained from the weight of old pain. The Shaolin monks teach that to empty your mind is to open your heart. When you make peace with your past, your energy returns to the present moment. You begin to see that the only time you truly live is now. The past has already done its work. It shaped you, tested you, strengthened you. But it no longer defines you. Letting go is not weakness. It is the highest form of strength. Anyone can hold on to pain. Only the brave release it. When you finally let go, you do not lose a part of yourself. You return to yourself. You remember who you were before the pain, before the story, before the weight. And in that space of release, inner peace quietly returns like still water after a storm. People spend years chasing peace in temples, mountains, and books, yet they never realize one of the biggest thieves of peace lives within: the need to please everyone. It sounds harmless, even noble. To be kind, agreeable, and helpful. But hidden beneath that kindness often lies fear, the fear of rejection, disapproval, or conflict. The moment you allow this fear to govern your actions, your peace begins to vanish. People-pleasing may look like generosity, but it's a form of self-abandonment. You say yes when your heart whispers no. You smile when your spirit is tired. You agree to things that drain your energy, all to avoid disappointing someone else. Each time you do this, you move further away from your authentic self. And when you live out of alignment with who you truly are, your mind becomes restless. The truth is, peace and pretending cannot coexist. When you spend your life trying to keep everyone happy, you will constantly feel torn between your truth and their expectations. You may find yourself lying awake at night, replaying conversations, wondering if you said the right thing or did enough. But understand this, no matter how perfectly you perform, there will always be someone who disapproves. Always. Look around. The world is full of opinions. Some will praise you for standing firm, others will criticize you for the same act. Trying to please everyone is like trying to hold water in your hands. No matter how tightly you grip, it slips away. The energy you use to seek approval could instead be used to cultivate peace within. True harmony does not come from saying yes to everything. It comes from saying yes only to what aligns with your values. Many confuse peace with agreement, but they are not the same. Peace is not about avoiding conflict. It's about avoiding self-betrayal. When your actions contradict your inner truth, you create internal tension, a quiet storm that disturbs your mind. Learning to say no is not unkind, it's an act of clarity. The word no protects your time, your energy, and your boundaries. Think of it like a gate around a sacred garden. If you let anyone walk through without care, they will trample the flowers that represent your calmness, your focus, your joy. A gate doesn't mean rejection. It means protection. You can still love people deeply while protecting your peace fiercely. But breaking the habit of pleasing everyone requires courage. It means facing moments of discomfort. People might misunderstand you, judge you, or pull away. Yet, those who truly care for you will respect your truth. And those who leave because you stopped bending for them were never aligned with your peace to begin with. When you stop seeking validation, something powerful happens. You begin to hear your own inner voice again. It's the voice that whispers what feels right and what doesn't. That voice becomes stronger when it's no longer drowned out by the noise of other people's expectations. In that silence, you rediscover your authenticity. Start small. The next time you're asked for something that feels heavy or wrong, pause before responding. Ask yourself, if I say yes, will I lose peace? If the answer is yes, choose peace. It might feel uncomfortable at first, but the discomfort of honesty is far lighter than the burden of constant approval. Peace is not found in being liked by all. It's found in being true to yourself. When your actions match your values, when your words align with your heart, an unshakable calm arises. You stop chasing validation because you already know your worth. When you no longer need everyone to like you, you begin to like yourself. And that is where real peace begins, not in the acceptance of others, but in the acceptance of who you are when you stop pretending. In a world that glorifies noise, silence has become the rarest luxury. Every moment is filled with notifications, voices, opinions, and endless distractions that pull the mind in 100 directions. People wake up and reach for their phones before they even reach for their breath. They scroll through other people's lives before they have taken a moment to live their own. And then they wonder why their mind feels heavy, why they feel lost, restless, and tired, even when nothing is wrong. What many fail to realize is that silence is not emptiness, it is nourishment. It is where your thoughts settle and your awareness sharpens. Just as muddy water clears when left undisturbed, your mind too becomes clear when you allow it to be still. When you neglect silence, your inner world becomes clouded. You stop hearing the quiet voice that guides you. the voice of intuition, wisdom, and truth. You see, the mind is like a garden. If you do not tend to it, weeds of confusion and negativity will grow on their own. Every day that you fail to pause, to breathe, to be still, you allow these weeds to take root. You begin to live reactively instead of consciously. You lose touch with yourself, with what truly matters. That is why silence is not just a break from life, it is a bridge back to yourself. Many people think they don't have time to be still. They say, "I'm too busy," or "I'll rest when I'm done." But here lies the great irony. They never feel done. They are always chasing the next task, the next goal, the next distraction. Yet the mind that is constantly stimulated becomes dull. It cannot focus deeply, love deeply, or live deeply. When you practice silence, you recharge your awareness. You sharpen your senses. You begin to notice the beauty that has always been around you. The sound of the wind, the warmth of sunlight, the rhythm of your own breath. Silence does not mean sitting alone in a quiet room for hours. It can mean walking without your phone, eating without distraction, listening without interrupting, or simply taking 3 conscious breaths before speaking. It is not about escaping life. It is about entering it more fully. The more still you become, the more clearly you see that peace was never missing. It was just buried under noise. In silence, your fears begin to dissolve. You see that many of them are just echoes of thoughts, not truths. You realize that you are not your worries, not your achievements, not even your failures. You are the awareness that witnesses all of it. And when you live from that awareness, you stop reacting to every wave of emotion. You learn to observe without being pulled under. Silence teaches you discipline, the ability to remain centered when the world tries to pull you away. It gives you space to respond instead of react. It helps you recognize the difference between what is urgent and what is important. And in that space, you discover your true power, the power to choose peace even in chaos. Just as a warrior sharpens his blade before battle, you must sharpen your mind before you face the world. The sharpening happens in stillness. Without silence, you act from exhaustion. With silence, you act from clarity. It is the still mind that makes the strongest moves, because it sees clearly and acts with purpose. So make time for silence, not as an escape, but as a practice. Let it be your daily ritual, your quiet temple. The more you return to silence, the stronger your connection to your inner world becomes. And from that place, life no longer feels overwhelming. You move with grace, speak with intention, and live with peace that cannot be shaken by the noise around you. Peace begins not when the world around you changes, but when you stop fighting yourself. Most people imagine peace as something external, a quiet place, a moment without conflict, a life without stress. But the deepest kind of peace has nothing to do with silence outside and everything to do with silence within. You can sit in a silent room and still feel chaos inside, and you can walk through noise and still feel calm. The true battle is never out there. It's within your own mind. Every thought, every emotion, and every reaction shapes your inner world. When you are at war with yourself, your mind becomes divided, one part pulling you forward, another part holding you back. You say you want peace, yet you feed your anger. You want clarity, yet you entertain doubt. You crave joy, yet you cling to pain. This is how we unknowingly fight ourselves, by creating resistance against what is. Peace is not about suppressing your emotions or pretending to be calm. It's about accepting what you feel without letting it control you. When your mind argues with reality, when you wish things were different, when you fight against what already is, you create suffering. The mind becomes a storm of shoulds and shouldn'ts, of why me and if only. But peace cannot live in resistance. It grows in acceptance. The moment you stop demanding life to be perfect, you open yourself to the beauty of imperfection. You stop fighting the rain and learn to dance with it. Many people live trapped in self-conflict because they carry opposing desires. They want growth but fear change. They seek love but avoid vulnerability. They want peace but refuse stillness. This conflict exhausts the soul. To end this battle, you must align your thoughts, words, and actions with the same intention. When what you think, what you say, and what you do move in the same direction, the mind becomes quiet. Alignment is the foundation of peace. Another form of inner conflict comes from self-judgment. People are harsh with themselves, always criticizing, always comparing, always doubting their worth. But how can you rest in peace if your own voice is your enemy? You must become your own ally. Speak to yourself with compassion, the way you would to someone you love. A mind that constantly punishes itself can never rest. Forgive your mistakes, not because they were okay, but because you deserve freedom from them. You cannot have peace without forgiveness, especially self-forgiveness. The past cannot be undone, but it can be understood. Every decision you regret was made with the awareness you had at that time. Let the past educate you, not destroy you. When you release self-blame, you reclaim energy that was trapped in guilt, and that energy becomes peace. True peace also requires letting go of control. The need to control every outcome, every person, every situation is the root of anxiety. Control is an illusion. The more you chase it, the more restless you become. Life will never bend to your expectations. But when you surrender the need to control, you discover a new strength: trust. Trust that whatever comes your way will serve your growth. Trust that even chaos has purpose. Trust allows the mind to rest. Finally, peace is not a destination. It's a daily practice. It's the way you breathe when stress rises. It's the way you respond when someone offends you. It's how you talk to yourself when you fail. It's not found in a temple or a mountain. It's built in every moment you choose understanding over judgment, acceptance over resistance, and presence over fear. When you stop fighting yourself, you stop feeding the storm. The mind no longer needs to win, it only needs to witness. And in that witnessing, in that quiet awareness, peace returns home.